Hey everybody, and welcome back to Stream of Consciousness Invasions. This is going to be the second episode of our lore invasions. We're still at the high wall. Lore invasions means we have to use appropriate items. There you see what we have in the belt. We have to use appropriate weapons and armor. We're using the deserter armor so that we can look like the guys around here. And we have to use appropriate items. So we've got, the charcoal pine bundle, throwing knives, the weak fire bombs, and alluring skulls in case anybody wants to get cheeky and use the seed of the tree giant. So, we're also playing as a Sunbro because Covenant specific works for this area, just based on the lore of Lothric. But we're wearing the untrue dark ring, so not really ever going to matter, but it matters to us. Alright, so the template that I foresee this particular lore invasion series taking is one long video and one short video where I go over stuff that I missed in the first. And it occurred to me I didn't talk about the Pus of Man or the Tree People, and this rooftop has both the Tree People and the Pus of Man. So, here we are. We're going to let him finish killing that thing because it can hit us, and it's just easier to do it this way. So, the Pus of Man, what is it? It is humanity pouring out of hollows. That is a lot of our ones. If you read the Dark Sigil that Yol gives us, and everyone who has the Pus of Man is a hollow, so it mentions the Dark Sigil that the humanity seeps out from there. So that Pus of Man is literally the humanity seeping out of these hollows and taking on that form. Jesus God, look at that R1. You guys know I am a proponent of R1 spam, but holy shit, that is evidence right there of why it works. We're gonna see if he does it when it's not beneficial. Like, at what point? Okay, yeah, he threw out way too many there, so I'm guessing this guy is probably not very PvP experienced, and we're gonna use that R1 spam against him. But anyway, going back to the lore. The Pus of Man is the humanity coming out of the Hollow's Dark Sigil. Everyone we see with Pus of Man is a Hollow, and ergo has a Dark Sigil. Except for, well, we'll talk about that when we get to Grand Archives and all that shit. But anyway, people have theorized that maybe the Pilgrim Butterflies are like an evolved form of the Pus of Man or an evolved form of the Tree People. I don't think that they're either. I think that the Londor Pilgrims, they wear that turtle shell on their back, per the cleric armor that we find in Undead Settlement, to keep the humanity from seeping out of them through the Dark Sigil. Keep in mind, we get the Dark Sigil from a Londor Pilgrim, Yol, so they know more about manipulating it and using it than we do. He's going for parries. We're going to go for a backstab because he looks, yep, parry happy. So Yol and the Pilgrims, they're more experienced with the Dark Sigil. They're better at manipulating it. I think those Pilgrims, those dead Pilgrims, I think that's who's turning into the Pilgrim Butterflies. I mean, Pilgrim's in the fucking name, right? As far as the Tree People, I really don't know what the fuck is going on with them. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention. The follower torch in the DLC talks about the Pus of Man. And it says that the Pus of Man is humanity like run wild, per Udlasil. And it says that from ancient times it was treated with fire. Which I think plays into my theory that Lothric is like this incredibly ancient fucking city. And by the time we find it, it's just in total disarray and all that shit. But moving forward, onto the Tree People, I have no fucking clue. That's something they have to touch on in the second DLC, because the first DLC gave us the Birchwood women, so we know that it's like a thing. It's not just a Lothric, or not Lordran, the other thing, the other place that we're at, Londor. Is that right? Got him. I can't think, sorry. The Tree People, I don't know, man. The Great Hollow in Dark Souls 1, that's obviously intriguing naming. I just, the Birchwood women, the Tree People here, it might just be like everything's returning to the Age of Ancients. But I feel like we need more information. on that subject. Kobe. 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 Yeah, kind of Kobe. Full on Kobe. Kobe. All right, so this invasion, all things go well, I'm gonna use this to talk about um, all the Dark Souls 2 stuff that I throw out there. I know a lot of oh shit. Okay. Judging by how quickly they're running, I'm assuming they are by themselves. Let's see if I can beat this without the hyper armor trade or the crossbow, just for funsies. Surprised I was able to interrupt the hyper armor on that. Usually that was not something that happened. Oh shit. Poke. Hell yeah. Anyway, Dark Souls 2. I referenced the lore a lot here in Lothric, and really only in Lothric. And I feel like people that are big fans of Dark Souls 2, they're like, oh, the lore just got left, no one had used it. And people who are big fans of Dark Souls 1 and, maybe not so much of Dark Souls 2, they think that the lore of Dark Souls 2 had shortcomings, which it did. I don't disagree with that, but I also enjoyed parts of it. And I don't think it has to be one or the other. I think you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. If we'll look at it from a writer's perspective, don't look at it from the story's perspective right now. Just bear with me and look at it like you're a writer. Okay, you're Miyazaki, you write Dark Souls 1, you write this story, you've got it all planned out in your head. Then this other group of people come in and they write Dark Souls 2. Now, in order for them, they know that, you might come back to this. Ooh, that's good. This host is about to stop treating this like a duel. Watch. She's gonna try and backstab me. The Dark Souls 2 creators, they know Miyazaki might come back to Dark Souls at some point, and they're kind of left with this disjointed mess of a game after the first directors left. So everything they did was very, is it or isn't it? They never directly say, oh, what did I tell y'all? Oh, hang on. Let's lure the party back to the enemies here. So, they never really directly reference anything in Dark Souls 1 from Dark Souls 2. There's a whole lot of wishy-washy, maybe, quote-unquote, maybe, Seed of the Tree Giants, Luring Skull, go. Wishy-washy sort of language, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, long time ago, no one remembers, without ever really knowing why. A lot of language like that, and it's not language like that just to do it. It's language like that because they didn't want to tie Miyazaki into a corner. They couldn't write him into a corner. It's his fucking game. So in the same vein, we're gonna fight this host while the blue is busy. In the same vein, I think Miyazaki not wanting to overwrite anything Dark Souls 2 did, he doesn't reference it as heavily. But when I talk about the Dark Souls 2, how I think this, Lothric being incredibly old and was probably the first thing that was built after Dark Souls 2, I'm gonna give you some 3 really solid pieces of evidence and 1 iffy one. The 4 pillars of rule, the 3 pillars of rule, and the 1 kind of dark one. All right. The 3 pillars of rule are the knights, the priests, and the scholars. Okay. If Aldia is the first scholar, then he is associated with a pillar of rule and therefore can be said to be one of the foundations of Lothric, Dark Souls 2. The knights are represented by a Ferosan Lion Knight, Albert, Dark Souls 2. The priestess, little iffy, but bear with me here. This is a fun invasion, by the way. I've got my heart's racing. The priestess, there's no. Oh, they switched to a whip. God damn, I hate whips. All right, hang on. I'm gonna have to get the crossbow out. Okay. Let's see. The priestess, holy shit. Oh, the range on that. The priestess don't necessarily have anything to do with Dark Souls 2 on the surface, but when you go to the untended graves, holy shit. I thought that was a fucking demon fist parry tool. It's been a pyro club this whole time. I've not been attacking because I thought that was the. Oh my god, I'm. Alright, focus. Focus. The priestess on the surface don't have much to do with Dark Souls 2 until you go to Untended Graves, and the Shrine Handmaiden sells you the priestess ring. Okay, so she was a priestess, and the Shrine Handmaiden is one of the cackling hens from the beginning of Dark Souls 2, right? So, if she was a priestess, if she was the high priestess before Emma was, and she's one of the cackling hens from Dark Souls 2, that's another Dark Souls 2 tie-in. Now, that's 3 really good pieces of evidence, I feel like. Here's one that's kind of iffy. The hunters, there's not a whole lot of information to go on, but they totally power stance weapons. And that's Dark Souls 2. Whew. Okay, so I got all that out, and I had a fucking awesome invasion. That was really fun. Like, my heart is racing. You guys remember when I said this was going to be a short video? How's that working out for you? Lothric is totally Dark Souls 2. Accepted. Alright, all my boys are dead, but this is where I wanted to spawn. This will give us an opportunity to talk about the deserters. And since we're wearing their armor, I figure, we should probably go over that. They're the most common enemy in this area, so we will collapse here and we'll pop a squat next to our boy. And we'll check out the armor description. The deserters, where am I at? This is the wrong fucking menu. It basically calls it a hunk of iron, talks about how old it is, but we'll read it. It's common soldier's armor. Its insignia is worn beyond recognition. This musty, rusted hunk of metal befits one reduced to thievery. And what I think they're referring to when they call these people deserters is not them. I don't think they abandoned their station. I think that it's kind of foreshadowing to Lothric being a deserter. He abandoned his station of becoming a lord. He said fuck it, and these guys followed him. So by extension, they are also deserters. Now it says they're reduced to thievery, but these guys are hollows. So they don't give a shit about stealing now. They don't care. All they care about is getting souls. This guy over here, he's a thief. And I think he was up here stealing, sort of in line with Grey Rat. He was up here stealing when everything went to shit. And, but again, all of this is so old and so long ago, etc., that now no one gives, they don't care about stealing anymore. All they care about is souls. And the deserters are in that same line of thinking. So I think with, like I was saying in the last episode, all of this is incredibly ancient, right? This entire fucking thing, by the time we find it, it's reduced to this state. But before we found it, and after it stopped being like an actual city-state, it stopped being like an actual kingdom, and it just turned into this undead fucking graveyard. That was when they were reduced to thievery. Now they don't give a shit. Now they're just out looking for souls. But they're not deserters because they abandoned their job, in my estimation. They're deserters because they followed Lothric, who abandoned his job. And we'll go more into that when we get to the Boletaria redo. That is the Grand Archives. So, we were fighting it was Morn's Hammer, now it's a straight sword, and Miracles, and a parry shield. The host was using Karthus. And there's the blue. He's also using Morn's Great Hammer. So we gotta avoid those stun locks. We'll fight alongside our knight brother here. We kind of look like a squire more than a knight, but whatever. It works. It's fun. Oh, I couldn't finish him off. The blue showed up. Alright, they've switched to the rapier or the Astok. I'm thinking the rapier, which I kind of hope they... No, I was going to say I hope they stick with that, because I'm really good at parrying the rapier. The Karthus I can parry... you can do the third swing parry if they hit you. And it's also even better, a running R1 into an R1 that everybody always attempts. That's great parry bait. And if you swing and hit at the same time... Damn, son, he's dead. If you hit someone with a Karthus at the same exact time, kind of like that, except instead of a firebomb, they'd hit me with their sword. If you do that trade, when you both wake up, no weapon you have is going to be faster than the Karthus, but your parry, even with the medium shield, is fast enough to catch it. So that's an awesome opportunity to parry, because the only thing that will punish you is an R2, and no one uses R2 with the Karthus, so that's the joke. We'll see if we can... Looks like they've switched back to the Astok, maybe. Not the Astok, the rapier. Oh, that was silly. Alright, let's see if we can do away with this guy. Oh, come on. Yeah, he tried to poise cast on me. See, right there? That's when you do it. He tried to poise cast on me, but he didn't have any health, so I didn't give a shit that he had poise. Alright, here's another fucking Phantom. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to try and lure them slowly to the elite Lothric Knight, the Red-Eyed Knight. Looks like he's using, yeah, Follower Saber. Which, that motherfucker will break the stability on any shield. Like, that is a nasty-ass weapon art. And I know they nerfed it, but I don't think they nerfed any of the stability damage. I think they just nerfed the actual damage. Alright, so you see, I'm coming up here, but I didn't run straight ahead, like, hey, come get me, I'm hanging out next to the knight. You do it slowly. You milk it. Alright, they're throwing knives, so I'm going to trade. You don't need hyper armor frames to trade with throwing knives. Yeah. That didn't... Oh! Our plan paid the fuck off. And that weapon art didn't do as much damage as I thought it did. I know they nerfed it, but there's no way that was leveled, like, a level 10 weapon, because that didn't do any fucking damage. Get back here, you chicken shit. Ah, saw it coming. Alright, I'm cool fighting over here because it moves them farther away from summoning more phantoms. Which is kind of a secondary... Oh! Take that fucking damage. I think that was 1,300 damage on that combo. It's not a real combo. It's just one I do. R1, R1, true combo. R2 catches them on the rollout. And then the jump attack. Oop! Okay, not so bad. The jump attack, if they fuck up and you hit them with that jump attack, that's 1,200 damage altogether. Went for it again, see? Shit. Summoning Albert. Alright, we'll heal up before he gets here. And I'm gonna start relying more on... Fuck. Okay, fuck it. I'm gonna do pokes. It's hard to get in on that Karthus. Hell yeah. Fuck you, Albert. Alright guys, that'll do it for us today. Next time, we'll be at the Undead Settlement, and we'll be doing our lore invasions from there. So we'll see you then.